Hi guys, how's it going? My name is Joe Tyrrell and welcome to the Undercut, the GPblog podcast. Lewis Hamilton will have to wait to claim his 6th World Championship despite winning the Mexican Grand Prix. Talking you through all the action at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez is myself and my panel of experts. We'll preview the US Grand Prix and we'll have another heated debate in the hot take section. This is the 2019 season, episode 9.
Valtteri, it's James.
Come on. Get it, Joe. No, and that's going to ruin the undercut attempt. Woo! The undercut.
Joining me this week, as always, is Nicolas, Quarles and Adam Newton. How are we, guys? And did we enjoy the Mexican Grand Prix?
Not as much as I enjoyed your pronunciation of the circuit name.
Thank you very much, Nick.
No,
I've been practicing for the last fortnight.
yeah, it was a bit of a weird race, wasn't it? The whole race was hyped up for this sort of grand finale, and which just never came, did it?
No, it was a good race in prospect, but just sort of it never came alive. And it, after the high standards we've set in the previous however many, it was a little bit of a disappointment towards the end for me.
Before we dig into the action from Mexico City, these are the biggest headlines from the last week in Formula One. So Adam, we didn't think we'd be still talking about the Japanese Grand Prix 2 weeks after the actual race, but Renault somehow have made us do that, and here we are, they got disqualified. Well, what happened there?
Well, it was an illegal automatic brake bias system,
Yeah.
I believe, which reported by Force India, reported by Racing Point.
Sport Pesa Racing Point.
Sport Pesa Racing Point. I saw that it was a ex-Renault employee that's now at Racing Point, asked Otmar Safnauer, the Racing Point technical director, if they could use the system. And then they went to the FIA and said, is this illegal? And the FIA said, yes, it is illegal. So they're like, oh yeah, those guys down at Renault are doing it, so you might want to look into that. And so they did. And
Just
then,
the mightiest snake.
I didn't know that
and then
part.
yeah, it was.
That's so sneaky.
It was an ex-Renault
Wow.
employee.
He holds a big grudge.
They wanted to use it at Racing Point.
He's not going to get rehired anytime soon, then.
But apparently they've been using it for ages.
I didn't know
Roman
that they...
Grosjean said they've been using it since 2015.
Yeah, but I didn't know they...
Well, Beatable admitted they'd been using it for years.
Yeah.
I think I read something that they found out because they saw it on the steering wheel in like a social media like hot lap video or something that Renault posted, and they saw something on the steering wheel and they were like, wait, that doesn't look right, and that I think that launched the investigation. But your story sounds tastier.
I've read that on the internet. I'm from a reputable source.
Now, obviously, the comment section of GPblog.com, you do get some people who are going to have their hot takes on the opinion. Some people have said that after Cyril Abiteboul admitted to using it for years, that he should be thrown out of Formula One. What's your take on that?
Well, I think that's kind of a little bit harsh. I would say if they've been using it for 4 years, how has it not been found out yet? Why does it take Racing Point to report them, or to find something weird on the steering wheel to... Surely, don't the FIA F1 do like checks?
Are they
on
not
the
tracking
cars?
these things?
Yeah, we've had some ridiculous things before. Like I think someone's car was millimeters too wide. Was that last season? I got a feeling it was.
Oh yeah, I think I remember something like that. There's been so many disqualifications.
And Racing
over
Point
the
were
year.
disqualified last year for something strange as well, weren't they? Was it Italy?
In the United States, you mean?
Was it in the US?
And I think someone got disqualified in Italy last season.
Oh, Grosjean was in Italy. He got disqualified.
And I think Ocon got disqualified from the United States as well. But that was for carrying like too much fuel. He was using too much fuel or something like that at the start. 0.01%.
And we had Ricciardo's MGUK usage. Was it MGUK? Went over when he went over that bump and got disqualified from qualifying.
Oh yeah, that was in Singapore. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
So
it was in Q1, and it wasn't even his fastest lap in Q1. So, and it gave him like a 0.00001 second advantage or something.
So I don't understand how F1 or the FIA haven't seen this before if they've been using it for so long. But so obviously it's the right decision to disqualify them.
It seems like these
but
things.
do you go back further?
But I wouldn't make Abiteboul quit F1 or sack him from Renault just for that. I think there are a lot of people out there who don't like
Let's
Cyril.
reinvestigate the 1989 McLaren.
Yeah.
See, because that was suspiciously quick, I'm not sure if we should look into that. Strip Senna of his
Yeah.
or Prost actually of his title.
Prost.
Well, hopefully we can move on from the Japanese Grand Prix now. But something that happened in Mexico, over the Mexican Grand Prix last weekend, is Hamilton didn't have his main sidekick with him all weekend. There was no Bono.
No Peter Bonington. No, I think he was home. He was ill or something.
Yeah.
Extremely weird to not hear "Get in there, Lewis" when he won. I was thrown off, and I was hoping that the new guy, I don't remember his
Marcus
name.
Dudley, is it?
Marcus.
Dunkley?
Yeah, I think you're right. Marcus
Yeah.
something.
It was funny that in free practice, Hamilton was saying, "Get the microphone out of your mouth." or something.
Take it out of your mouth. Yeah.
But I was hoping that in homage to Bono, he could at least say "Get in there, Lewis," but he didn't. Very
Well, Hamilton
unfortunate.
paid tribute to him, didn't
Yeah,
he?
this one's for Bono, lads.
Yeah.
Like
As if
he
he died.
Well, it raises the question: what's actually up with Bono? Like, is he just ill?
I don't know.
Got cold?
I mean, he'll be all right.
Yeah. Well, we hope so.
We hope, Bono, if you're listening, we hope you're not.
Yeah, if you're listening to
Really
the
ill.
Undercut, get well soon. But let's check out the action from the Mexican Grand Prix now. So, Adam, it was somewhat anticlimactic at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez.
That pronunciation wasn't so
That
good.
wasn't as good.
But the Automono Hermanos. I tried to say it too quick. Your weird race.
It built up, and then...
Yeah, we kind of thought that we'd get this crescendo at the end where you had Hamilton fighting off Vettel, fighting off Bottas, fighting off Leclerc. Any one of those top four could win with 20 laps to go, but they just... I don't know whether it was dirty air, whether the tyres didn't go off as much as we thought.
In the end,
but
it was
they
quite
just
comfortable.
had these regular sort of 2-second or 1.5 second gaps between the top four, and nothing really happened at the end, apart from in the midfield where a lot happened. But
Yeah, I think behind Hamilton, the three cars behind him, so Vettel, Bottas and Leclerc, they were all getting closer together, and especially Leclerc was catching Bottas so quickly. But then I think he went wide in the run up to turn 4, lost about 2 seconds. I think he probably lost some tire life there, and he never got his attack back going after that. It also looked like Bottas was catching Vettel, and he was getting close to DRS range. Also didn't happen. Vettel was supposed to catch Hamilton. It didn't happen. It was just, as Vettel said after the race, the hard compound just lasted way longer than anyone expected, and it was just a gamble for Mercedes that paid off, because when this stop was initially made, all the whole Sky team, the commentary team, were all saying, have Mercedes made a mistake here? Because
Hamilton was saying, are you sure on the I know he said that before, but he was like, guys, are you sure we're on the right strategy?
Anyway, he says that every time when he wins.
Yeah.
He says that every time he leads by like 50 seconds, and he's like, oh, I feel a bit of graining. But a bit of a shame we got robbed of a fight, because in the end, obviously Max got taken out of the race in the fifth lap, I think it was. So yeah, very anticlimactic. I guess the midfield was all right with Perez and Ricciardo, but apart from that, nothing to shout about really at the top.
No, there wasn't. But there was a little bit of action at the start. We'll quickly run you through the action. So off the line, Vettel squeezed out Hamilton, and then Hamilton came together with Verstappen. Verstappen then tried to overtake Bottas, but got damaged, and then Bottas overtook him again. Verstappen got a puncture.
Yeah.
Had to change his tyre. Then race went on. Then there was a little bit of nothingness, and then Norris had his weird pit stop where his front left wasn't on.
And they pushed him back down the pit lane.
The pit lane.
He lost about 2 minutes or something.
Yeah. And then he retired, and there was quite a few pit lane mistakes. Leclerc had one, didn't he as well?
Giovinazzi had a really scary one.
Leclerc had a long pit stop. I think it was 6.2 seconds. Yeah. Giovinazzi had one where the tire wasn't on properly, and
the tire wasn't on at all.
That's all. Yeah, and he just drove away, and the car just sort of fell because obviously he was on 3 wheels.
Did you see he pushed the lines up on the the ground where the pit box is painted on? That all came off.
The middle section of the race was quite weird, and then we all expected the big finish, and we didn't get it, so it was quite anticlimactic with bit mixed feelings really in the end, wasn't it?
Yeah, I like the track, the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, as you would say. But it kind of, I don't know, I don't remember an exciting Mexican Grand Prix. If I'm wrong, please tell me. I can't remember there being like, you're going to say there is, Nick, because Verstappen's won there twice.
I think, if anything, maybe not the actual race itself, it's the fans around it
the fans are fantastic.
that make
They're
it
brilliant.
such a spectacle. Even it wasn't the greatest race, I really enjoyed it because you just see all the fans through the stadium section of the course.
Yeah, they were trying to cover up the race by just getting tons of shots of the fans just waving
every time
around the
Perez
Mexican
came
flags.
around the corner.
Yeah,
Do you think they should just import loads of Mexican fans for the French Grand Prix next year?
They've got to do something for Paul Ricard.
The Baku one, the Russian one. There's a lot of Grand Prix that don't have a lot of fans.
So in the end, Mercedes somehow secured P1, P3, and it was a bit weird because you could never see that happening from Ferrari locking out the front row, and it was their strategy that cost them again.
Yeah, again, had a front row in Suzuka, had a front row here, although Max originally got pole position. And yeah, they got out of turn. Like, it wasn't like last time. They just both have really bad starts. They got out of turn 1 and everything completely unscathed. Albon went into P3, I think.
Yeah.
And somehow, well, I think Vettel is quite correct in saying that Mercedes did get a bit lucky. They sort of had nothing to lose in the sense that, yeah, Hamilton was running, well, what was he, 4th, 3rd? And they just thought, we might as well go for it, pit before everyone else, and just gain track position and keep them behind. And then surprisingly, the tires lasted. So it does look a bit lucky from Mercedes' part, but maybe they'll calculate it back in Brackley.
Well, maybe they've got a strategy right so many times this year, and Ferrari haven't. So possibly they just thought, yeah, these tires will last. We've done our
it was really
practice
bizarre
on
because
Friday.
Before that, Hamilton said we're looking at a 3, 4, 5 stop strategy here.
That is Lewis Hamilton
That
and
is
Mercedes
Hamilton,
for you.
but it did look like that.
Every year before we start, it's like, yeah, Ferrari and Red Bull are quicker. Yeah, maybe even Renault and Williams are going to be faster. We might struggle to get points this year, and then they win every single race.
Yeah.
So that's for Mercedes for you, unfortunately. But no, Ferrari just seemed to maybe they didn't do the calculations right, put Leclerc on a 2-stop. And I feel sorry for Leclerc because I thought he was a good shout to win. He was leading at the start and ended up P4, which is very disappointing.
He was, but I'm sort of not sorry for him because you're at Ferrari. What do you expect? They're a bit of a mess all the time, to be honest. So
that's defamation.
It's just
it's defamation. Well, they are compared to Mercedes.
It's just
they
more
are.
often than not the 2-stop is just not going to work. And Leclerc went for a 2-stop. Albon went for a 2-stop. I guess for Albon's part, you can't really blame him for anything. Although they
were running 1st and 3rd, and they ended 4th and 5th. So you got to blame the strategy, really, surely.
Yeah, but Albon never had the pace to keep the Mercedes guys at bay.
But he could have been closer.
But I seriously wondered what Max could have done if not for that first couple of laps, because he is rapid around this track.
I think he could have won.
Yeah, I think he easily could have won that race. It was definitely there for the taking.
It was definitely there for the taking. Quickly on the midfield, it wasn't to be for McLaren. They had a pretty shambolic weekend, really. However, Renault picked up some much needed points.
Well, point,
yeah.
Yeah, in the end. I think...
Oh, Ricciardo got a few.
Yeah, actually, Ricciardo did get a couple. Yeah, I was just looking at Hülkenberg in P10. But I think McLaren were sort of, well, not doomed, but they had a disadvantage by starting off soft tires, as had Toro Rosso, to be fair. And Sainz's pace when he stopped for the hard tire was just absolutely nowhere. He just started getting overtaken by everyone. I remember Gasly overtaking quite nicely. He gave up on the hard tires after 20 laps, and he came in and drove half of the race on medium tires because the pace on the hard tires was just so bad. And that's something we really haven't seen from McLaren for bulk of the season.
I think the last bad race I saw McLaren have was probably Canada.
I don't think they got any points in Belgium either because Norris retired on the last lap.
Yeah.
That was really bad.
Yeah, he was fifth.
That was bad luck. Yeah, that was really bad luck. I'm not including that one.
We're talking about pure pace now, and Sainz was just getting picked off left and right. I think even Lance Stroll got him in the end, and very, very unusual for McLaren because obviously before the weekend and after qualifying, even Sainz was talking about how proud he was of McLaren finally acting like a big team by going on the mediums in Q2, even if it didn't pay off in the end, and they still had to go on softs. And to end the weekend like this with a P13 and a retirement, I guess it's sort of a reality check for them. And although P4 is probably in the bag already for this year. This is definitely not the type of momentum you want to be carrying for the rest of the year.
Well, that's our quick recap of the Mexican Grand Prix. We'll move on to our winners and losers now. Adam, kick me off with your big winner.
My big winner of the weekend is the one and only home favourite, Sergio Perez.
Very good finish of P7 for Sergio Perez.
Yeah, great finisher. Another 6 points to his name. Starting 11th, I believe. Free choice of tyres. As Nick would always say, mini pole.
It is mini pole.
Got to start on his choice of tyres, and he drove brilliantly. He's got a good record at Mexico, actually. That's the it's the 5th race since Mexico's been back, and he's got
spurred
points,
on by that home crowd.
Got points in 4 of them.
Retired last year, didn't he?
Retired last year, yeah. So I was really, really happy with the way Perez went about it. Had some good overtaking moves, a good solid strategy from Racing Point, and he really deserved that 6 points for P7.
Thank you, Adam. Nicolas, who is your big winner?
Josephine, my big winner. Could be a couple of people. I could, but I am going to pick.
Not the fans, I hope.
Not the fans, although the fans were great. Pierre Gasly.
Pierre! It was good all weekend.
It was good all weekend, and he finished 9th.
And he was ill.
Well, yes.
Despite being ill.
Dodgy taco.
No, I think there was a bug going around the whole grid.
Was it? I can't remember. One of the teams said they had.
There was like 100 people or something across all teams that had a bug, and when you saw Gasly on Saturday, he looked very bad. He looked so pale.
Well, it was even. I think Helmut Marko said that we might have to put diapers on him. A very Helmut Marko quote, but
yeah, classic Marko that. But fantastic performance from Gasly, honestly. First qualifying in the top 10, both Toro Rossos in the top 10 is a fantastic result for the team. I would have probably put Toro Rosso as the winners if not for Kvyat finishing outside of the points with that ridiculous lunge on the last lap. But Gasly, I mean, I just mentioned that movie made on Carlos Sainz. He was just fantastic.
Yeah, it was a great move.
It's so weird how he's becoming this great driver again. Now he's in a lesser spotlight at Toro Rosso.
Pressure's off him.
Yeah,
I think the pressure not being on Gasly is a real change in his mentality.
I mean, he says that the Toro Rosso car also suits him better. I think the Red Bull car is quite hard to. It's obviously completely built for Max, and maybe their racing, maybe their driving styles are just not the same. I can't tell as an outsider, but look, the proof is in the pudding here. He's been so good since coming back. He's outscoring Kvyat in almost every single race, and well done, Pierre. I mean, honestly, it's fantastic drive.
Well done, Pierre. We hope you feel better soon as well. But Adam, who is your loser this week?
I just want a quick mention who could have been a winner.
Go on, give me a could have been a winner.
Daniel Ricciardo.
Honourable mention
For Daniel. Good P8 finish for him. But well, my loser was going to be McLaren.
But
until Nick started talking about them a minute ago. So I am going to say, I'm going to go a bit of a quirky one. My loser is the bloke on the podium. Mario Archie, I believe his name was.
He made himself look
Mario Archie.
Yeah, he had his selfie stick and his helmet on.
I didn't know his name was that.
Dancing
That's
around.
so cringe.
What's his name?
Mario Archie.
Like
a
mariachi
mariachi band.
That's so cringe.
And he tried to get in the picture.
I actually thought it was the Stig, to be honest. For a while.
Tried to get in the picture with
White helmet on.
Sebastian Vettel.
Yeah, my winner
Seb
of the
just
week.
went, no, go away, and he had to go and dance somewhere else.
You said there was Vettel said something. He enjoyed the podium.
He said he enjoyed the podium, but not the 4-letter swear word trophies and the selfie guy.
Mario Archie.
Yeah, I mean, I would have maybe put Vettel as my winner just for pushing him away, because it was so, like, we were all watching the race together and we were all just collectively like,
what is this guy?
Who the hell is this guy?
I thought it was bizarre enough them lifting a car onto the podium.
That was cool.
Let alone having that bloke.
I mean, it was something like this sort of Mexican cousin of the Stig appears with like a selfie stick with like
some say,
but literally without a warning or something. He's just there suddenly, and suddenly we're just.
Yeah, imagine if they hadn't been told.
We hadn't been told. It's just so weird. honestly one of the weirdest things I've seen.
Well,
this
then
season.
after the race, after it, all the podium had done. Didn't they have Tiesto playing
Yeah,
yes.
playing like an
the
after
DJ
fight?
there.
And I just was watching the Sky coverage, and I just saw the
It was
Sky
raining.
presenter.
It's
Sky presenter's just in there. They cut to do a piece to camera with him, and he's just there not paying attention to the
Was that
camera.
Ted?
No. It was on the Sky News.
Oh, really?
And the presenter's just there bopping away. He doesn't have a clue the camera's on him. So yeah, that was one of the more interesting podium celebrations we've had
sure.
this year.
like a lot of entertainment value at least.
Yeah, but Nick, I don't know if you can live up to Mario Archie, but who's your loser this weekend?
No, my loser this weekend is it's hard to say, but it is Max Verstappen, and I don't know if it's his fault or not. It is, in a sense, it is his fault because
Should've
across
slowed
the whole weekend, he got away with it. He
Mm.
didn't slow down at all. Obviously, when he drove past Bottas, then he got away with it, and then he said in the press conference, he's like, "Yeah, I didn't slow down, and I was fully aware of that." He was basically like asking the FIA, please
investigate this.
please give me a penalty. Started from fourth, had a good start, sent it on the inside of Hamilton. Hamilton came across because he looked like he had understeer, forced Max onto the grass. Max dropped to P8 with Bottas in 7th because Bottas had been overtaken by Sainz, I think. And then on the 4th lap, incredibly optimistic move into the stadium section to send it on the inside of Bottas.
It made it, but
He made it. I was
price.
celebrating it because it was a really good move and like on a place where nobody ever goes for a move. But yeah, Bottas touched his rear right with his front wing, punctured it. You could see it on the straight. There was a lot of vibration in his car.
And just completely shredded off, didn't it?
Yeah, and then he had to drive a full lap back to the pits, limping back to the pits, went onto the grass, almost hit other people with this like sort of loose wandering tire that went across the track, almost hit Perez. And yeah, from that it was just damage limitation. I mean, quite impressive.
Yeah, very good damage limitation to get P6.
To drive 66 laps on one compound.
That was very impressive.
And to finish P6 is impressive, but on a day where he could have been on the top step of that podium, on the day where he could have been celebrating with Mario Archie, he wasn't on the podium at all. And real shame. But is it his own doing? In a way, it is. If you start from pole, what would have happened? But
he didn't need to set a fast lap because he already had provisional pole.
But obviously,
he didn't need to say it in the press conference.
Yeah, but you obviously don't know what others are going to do either and stuff. But just another frustrating weekend for him. That's all I'll say, and that's why I picked him as my loser.
Well, Alex Albon continues to lead Max Verstappen since they've both been at Red Bull.
Obviously the better driver, yeah.
I'll leave that one there, and we'll move on to the Circuit of the Americas and the US Grand Prix. Right, Nick, you're going to talk us through the Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas.
Austin, Texas, yeah.
What do we make of the track?
It's a track that all the drivers love, but all the sim drivers hate, because when you're driving in a sim, obviously you don't have perspective. You can't look over the car. You don't have 3D vision. So basically half the corners are blind when you're playing it on a video game. Because
are you just complaining because you're really bad at COTA on F1 2019?
Yeah, I am. I am really bad at COTA on F1 2019. But it is really cool when you look at it on board. The turn 1 is a very unique corner. It's sort of a hairpin that goes uphill. Obviously, Raikkonen made that really nice move at the start of last year's Grand Prix when he went on to eventually take the Grand Prix. And after that, it's a very technical sort of SS section, like you have in Mexico, like you have in Suzuka. Goes into a long back straight and some more slow corners. A lot of slow corners on the track, and as I said, a lot of the sort of hilly parts, if you will.
It's an exciting track to watch, though. It always produces decent races, I think.
It's one of the rare new tracks that the drivers actually like. I think also because it's purpose-built for F1. But yeah, it does usually produce some good races. I mean, last season, obviously, Max had the drive of his life, going from P19 to P2 or something.
I think we should definitely be talking about Kimi's win, though.
So
I was so happy when Kimi got that race win.
I'll quickly recap last year's race. So Mercedes driver Lewis Hamilton entered the round with a 67-point lead over Sebastian Vettel in the Drivers' Championship. The race, though, was won by a certain Kimi Raikkonen, who made a one-stop strategy work, achieving his first Grand Prix win since the 2013 Australian Grand Prix. Adam, can you tell me who he was driving for then?
He was driving for Lotus.
You are absolutely correct.
Isn't that the longest ever
Is a record
gap between two
yeah,
wins?
it was breaking
Is
a
it?
record,
Yeah.
setting 113 race winless streak, and it was his
Wow.
first since rejoining the Ferrari team in 2014.
Mm.
Ferrari's first ever win in Austin as well. So
Yeah, I mean Hamilton has won every other one, right?
Yeah.
I think, or maybe Rosberg
I
won
think
one.
Rosberg might have won one or
Yeah.
two.
yeah,
Yeah, Hamilton.
Hamilton does absolutely love that track.
He loves the US. You know, his accent gets more
Yeehaw!
American. His accent gets more American every year. He loves the US.
but it doesn't look like Kimi Räikkönen will win it this year. But
You never know.
You don't rule him out.
but will Lewis Hamilton win it, and will he wrap up his world championship?
I mean, I don't think there's an argument that says he won't win his world championship. If you say he won't, then that is an extremely hot take, because
Well, Sky seem to think Valtteri's still there.
well, they have to sell it somehow. He only needs 4 points, which is P8, and that's if Bottas wins and takes fastest
Yeah.
lap. If Bottas doesn't win, he's out of the championship, basically. And Nick, you told me a stat earlier. Is it 30 points finishes in a row?
Yeah, and that's the second longest
Streak ever.
streak.
And he's got the
Yeah.
one above.
So 30 races in a row means he's scored points in 30 races in a row. Obviously, last time was when he retired in Austria. In Austria 2018. And that's the second longest point scoring streak in F1 history, only second to himself when he did it 33 times in a row. And you could say he's due for not scoring a point,
Well,
I
you
guess.
could say that, but recent form
it
says
just
that
underlines
he will.
how unbelievably consistent the guy is. And
How
I mean-
consistent Mercedes are too.
but I mean, I wrote it on the website yesterday. Bottas has only scored 26 points once this year in Australia.
Yeah.
So to assume he's going to do it 3 times in a row now, while Hamilton also scores less than 4 points in total, it's unlikely.
Congratulations, Lewis Hamilton, 2019 F1 World Champion.
Well,
Have I cursed him?
what
I
is
hope-
your
Would be entertaining.
prediction? Adam, I want you to predict the US Grand Prix. I want your pole, fastest lap, and your podium. Hit me.
Well, now, it's a tough one because I still believe Ferrari have got the fastest car. They just muck
very
up
long
every
back
single
straight there.
time. Yeah. So I'm going to say Charles Leclerc's going to get another win. Wait a
You're
minute.
right there, Joe
I'm going to
Tyrrell.
say Lewis Hamilton's going to take pole.
Okay.
But
Massive upset.
Charles P2, he's only got like 4 poles this year, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
Charles will qualify in the front row and get him into turn 1. I reckon Lewis will come home second.
And wrap up the World Championship.
Wrap up the World Championship. Third place, I'll give to Valtteri Bottas so Hamilton can shake his hand on the podium and say, well done, mate, you just weren't good enough. Try again next
Put
year.
a hand on his shoulder.
Say, unlucky, mate.
Yeah.
You're not as good as me.
Great job
You
to
want
the
a
team.
fastest lap
And I
as
want
well?
a fastest lap as well.
Max Verstappen.
Max Verstappen, Nicolas, how about yourself?
I'll say that whoever starts from P3 will win. It's not the longest run into T1, but it is like it's so like when a track starts with a hairpin, it's just lends itself so well to just sending one down
it.
the inside, basically. So with Raikkonen last year, such a good move that. So I'll say whoever qualifies in third will win, and who is going to qualify in third, I have no idea. It could actually be Hamilton because
Lewis Hamilton.
the way
Yep.
Ferrari are driving, they might as well just lock out the front row again. But when I look back at Max's drive from last year, it does also tell me that he is very good on that track. So
Have Red Bull got the car, though?
I mean, they're definitely better on the straights than they were last year, but they have less downforce as well than last year. So it's a tough one to call, I think, this one. I think definitely Ferrari will still be favored, even though they cock up the strategy every single time, it seems like. They did so in Suzuka, they did so in Mexico as well. I do want to say that Vettel's going to take the win.
Vettel.
Yeah, Leclerc will get pole, Vettel will get the win. Leclerc will complain for about 90 minutes straight
Yeah.
on the team radio. Well,
I'm
not
actually
complain.
getting used to that, and it's actually
He
getting on my
won't
nerves.
complain, but he will like be passive aggressively complaining.
I know,
Indirect moaning.
I know exactly what you're
He'll
on about.
say
Nick.
they'll talk after the race, and then he'll talk during the race as well.
I think you're being harsh on Charles.
I'll say Vettel.
He can't feel hard but done by. Seb was number one at the start of the season, and he's a 4-time world champion. He can't complain.
53-time Grand Prix.
Exactly.
winner.
Joe is just angry that I said yesterday Leclerc was better than Vettel.
Well, yeah, but we were basing it off everything, and Vettel has won 4 world championships. Like you,
He's won.
Who's highest in the standings in 2019?
Lewis Hamilton.
Whoa!
yeah,
Oh no!
yeah, but
you've
Robert
shown
Kubica
me.
is above Russell, and we all know what's happening with Kubica at the end of the
Yeah,
season.
but it's
so,
just irrelevant, isn't it? Shush.
World champion.
well, give me your fastest lap as well, Nick.
No, I'll say Vettel wins Max P2.
Max P2.
Lewis will probably finish like 4th or 5th just to make sure he gets the title. And I'll say Leclerc got some P3. It's probably some variation of that. Maybe Bottas will get on the podium. I'll say Vettel, Max, Leclerc. And then fastest lap, I don't know. Put me down for Alex Albon.
Well, for probably the 7th race in a row, I'm going for an Alex Albon podium.
Okay,
You're just it's just like at some point it's not a good prediction anymore. You can say for like 50 races in a row and then it happens. And
I
you're
actually
like,
thought he was close. I thought he was close to getting one yesterday in Mexico, but
he wasn't.
he
I
wasn't.
mean, he was there for like 10 laps in P3.
Yeah.
Well, it didn't happen.
To be fair,
But
you were
this
like
time it will.
shouting when it happened. You were like, he's on the podium! He's on the podium!
I just really want Alex Albon to get a good result, so he gets the Red Bull seat.
Because he looks like a nice, humble guy.
Yeah, he is a nice, humble guy.
I think he just has like a soft voice.
He's
Yeah.
got a nice British accent, and that's what we
That's
like
what we
here
like.
at GP
That's
Blog.
what we like here at GPblog. But we will move on to the hot take section now. Right, lads, we're nearing the end of the season. We're running out of hot takes, but I've got one for you this week. The question will be, is George Russell a future Formula One World Championship? Obviously, he's been racing for Williams this season. We've not been able to get a proper idea of what his talents are in Formula One. But you are going to have 30 seconds to tell me why you think George Russell is or is not a Formula One World Champion in the making. Nick, you're going to tell me he's not a Formula One World Champion in the making. Adam, you're going to defend our fellow Brit. You'll have 30 seconds. When the time is up, you'll hear this sound.
Stop it.
Nicholas, unfortunately, I have to come to you first.
Yeah.
The pressure's on now, Nick. You lead, don't you? 5-3, is it?
Yeah, 5-3.
I'm comfortable. I think
5-3.
I got this in the back.
Comfortable.
I mean, I think I'm probably going to lose this one because you won't agree with me.
Oh, you're trying to play the guilt trip now.
Hey, let's leave
I
it.
think my argument's
Look,
good, though.
Leave it all out on the field. And as we always say every week, no talking after your time is up. Otherwise, I might have to deduct points. Your time starts in
Am I
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All I'm saying is we're basing this off Formula 2 results. He got 7 wins in his debut season in F2, and yes, that's equaling a record. But you know whose record he's equaling? Stoffel Van Dorn. And how did he do in F1? Exactly. If George Russell's name was Jorge Rossello and he was driving for Renault or just not an English team and he wasn't English, we would not be having this discussion. He's doing well, yes, but he has absolutely zero pressure on him and he's driving against a driver who simply doesn't deserve to be in F1.
Time! That's it. You just said Robert Kubica doesn't deserve to be in F1. That's quite harsh on the poor guy.
I mean, I'm not allowed to talk.
Kubica.
Right, Ati. You're going to have 30 seconds to tell me why you think George Russell is a future Formula One World Champion.
Jorge Rossello.
Your time starts in 2, 1, go.
So you said George Russell set an F2 record of 7 wins. Who was the year before F2 champion? Charles Leclerc. He beat Charles Leclerc's record in F2. Charles Leclerc is winning races at Ferrari right now. Do you know how many drivers there are in the Mercedes Driver Academy? There's about 4 or 5. They only pick the best drivers available, and George Russell is one of them. He beat Alex Albon and Lando Norris in Formula 2 last year comfortably, and they've been very, very impressive for McLaren and Red Bull.
1.
And I'm done.
He's done it. He's done it within the time.
I have a good counter argument, but I'm not allowed to speak.
I'll let you give your counter argument after I've made my decision. But this week, I think it's a comfortable win for Adi, Nick. He brings it
I
back
said
to
it,
5-4.
you know,
Look,
there was no way I was going to win
I'm a
this.
George Russell fan.
Yeah,
but
that's because.
but I have to be neutral, and the fact that he beat Lando Norris and Alex Albon says that the future is British.
Some drivers are like Nick de Vries was the best driver in the world in karts, and he's not good at all in Formula cars. And he's also a Mercedes Junior driver, by the way. And how good is he doing?
He used to be. they dropped him.
He's in the FE team now.
Yeah, he's in the FE team, but so's Stoffel Van Dorn. It doesn't mean he's a youth driver.
Well, Adam takes the
my
win
blood's
that
pumping
time.
after that one.
Adam takes the win. Nick's not happy. Nick said he knew this was the outcome.
Yeah, this
but
was just like a scheduled loss for me, basically, to make it more exciting.
Can we do the next one on Lando Norris as well?
I think we'll have to look away from British up-and-coming Formula One drivers.
If the ref was Spanish or something, I would have won.
Oh, yeah, okay.
All right.
We'll let the fans decide.
Well,
Comment down below whether you think
let
me
us
or
know
Nick won that one.
Who won that one? And is George Russell a future Formula One champion? Let us know. Adam wins it. It's 5-4 to Nick still, so you're still winning.
I mean, he could be we're just basing it off nothing.
It's pure speculation.
Yeah, we are
I'm
running
saying
out of
we're
ideas here.
I mean, my argument is that we're basing it on absolutely nothing. I'm not saying he's a bad driver. I'm just saying he has not shown me anything. Why he is.
Do you think Charles Leclerc will be a future world champion?
I mean, I don't know. Probably.
Right.
Well, then Russell outperformed Leclerc in their respective Formula 2 seasons.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, that is literally all we're basing it on right now.
Yeah.
Well, it's a controversial one, guys. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. But it's 5-4 to Nick. We're going to move on to some questions from the crowd now. We've got one sent in from the F1 debate show. Thank you for sending it in, guys. I'm going to give this one to Adam first. When will Ferrari get a strategy right consistently? Will this be their main aim in 2020?
No, and it should be.
But will it be?
Well, it should be because they can't make a right decision at the moment.
Yeah.
They so many times we talked about it earlier. So many times we've seen Ferrari just go, "Oh, years. How many stopped today? 2 years. Leclerc 2 stop."
I don't know if we can we include that.
I think we can.
They sort of guess. It seems they seem to just sort of think,
The opposite of
yeah,
Mercedes.
we'll just do that and hopefully we'll win. And they don't win because Mercedes are German. They say, yes, we will do this. And they win. I mean, I hope that's not dodgy to say that, but it's true.
To make this a little less racial.
I wasn't being nasty. I'm just saying. Ferrari seem to be lax on it.
First of all, F1 debate show. I've listened to a couple episodes. It's good podcast.
Good content. Check it out.
Yeah. No, but what I think is going on is we don't notice it here where we live in the UK, but Ferrari are under so much scrutiny in Italy. Their races, their performances get overanalyzed so much by Italian journalists, and Italian journalists are nasty.
They're harsh on them.
They're really harsh.
Yeah.
Vettel has been nailed. I mean, he's been crucified after every bad race he's had. And what I think it takes for Ferrari is when Schumacher joined them in, what was it, 1996, I think. Yeah. It just takes someone like him who's just not a hothead. Someone who's just sort of a machine, basically. Vettel's obviously quite an emotional guy. Leclerc looks to be quite an emotional guy as well. I think it's just going to take something like that. And Mercedes are obviously they seemingly never make mistakes. And I think for Ferrari, I think the pressure is just so high on them, especially when they go to Monza and stuff. They hadn't won in Monza for 9 years, even though the track suits them so well. And I think I really believe that the Italian media is one of the main reasons why they're crumbling so often. But having said that, I do think that strategy is the main reason that's holding them back from winning a Grand Prix. But I'm sure they know that as well.
So go back 12 months. Maurizio Arrivabene, that's how I say it.
Yeah,
is still in charge.
I do like.
I like
Binotto. Have they moved forward since then?
For sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure about. Binotto used to be the technical director.
He had a few different titles,
he was basically the head of development and stuff. I think he got appointed during the 2017 season, and as soon as he got appointed, basically they got way close to Mercedes, because before that they were nowhere near them. I think in 2015 they didn't win a single race. And now he's obviously been promoted to team principal, but he's still also the head of development or the technical director.
Well, his old job got split into 3 roles or something.
Yeah, because
that's
him and Arrivabene clashed so much. And what I do think they'll have to look at promoting either from the inside or appointing someone to be either team principal or technical director, so Binotto can focus on developing the car, because clearly he's doing an unbelievable job of that, and maybe let someone else do the strategic things. Maybe get like, obviously they used to have Ross Brawn there, and get someone like that in, maybe someone I think that's one of those two components are the main reason why they're messing up so often with the strategy.
And we got one from Matt Gretton. Matt says, thank you for the question to start with, Matt. Matt says, if Bottas was given more of a chance by Mercedes, would he have been challenging closer for the world title?
I think he would be challenging closer. I don't think he would have been winning. Where was it? He had the Valtteri, it's James. It was Singapore, wasn't it? Is that the only time this year? I think it is.
I mean, look, at the start of the season, Mercedes are always equal. They're not giving anyone the preferred strategy. I think they just say on the day whoever's in a better position gets a preferred strategy. I think if Bottas was better than Hamilton, it would have shown by now. Hamilton is just, as much as people hate to admit it, seemingly, Hamilton is just one of the, if not the best driver of all time. And Bottas is a good driver, yes, but he's, I mean, I guess if this is what Matt is arguing, you could say, say Hamilton never gets a preferred strategy. Yes, maybe Bottas beats him, but that's just not the way things work. And in the end, Hamilton is just a superior driver, and I think there were key moments in the season where Bottas really didn't take advantage in Germany, especially. Yeah, when he
crashed out from P2. That's 18 points and then -1 for Hamilton. I know it's only 19 points, but still, he'd be 19 points closer, and it could have given him a psychological boost going into the next race. And I think Hamilton has this cutting edge, brilliance about him every weekend, and Bottas is kind of a little bit more. He's a very good driver, but he's hot and cold, I think, and that's where Hamilton really
drives on confidence. Bottas
puts his foot down and says, "Yeah, I am going to win this title, and you're not going to win it."
That's the thing with Hamilton; he just always extracts the absolute maximum from every single race, and he. At the start of the season, we were all saying, Hamilton, he's not really at his best. Bottas is this new man, but Hamilton was still getting P2 every time. When Mercedes won those 5 1-2s in a row, he's always thereabouts if he's not winning. And that's incredibly underrated, I think, because if Vettel's not winning, he's probably spun out somewhere. And that's just something Hamilton doesn't do. And Bottas makes mistakes. We saw it in Q3. And Hamilton just doesn't. And that's the difference between maybe a good and a great driver.
Right, and as always, we've got a certain Brad Tomshaw with another question. He says, should mayo and ketchup be mixed together? Now, Nicolas, I have seen you mixing your fair share of ketchup and mayonnaise.
I have, yeah. Look, this is...
disgusting!
I know this is a hot button topic here. I know English people don't like their mayo. Every time I go to Nando's or something, I have to specifically ask them for mayo, which is very annoying. But look, it's two staples in the confectionery world.
You cannot defend this.
A positive and a positive makes a positive.
No, not always.
I'm pretty sure it's a positive and a positive makes a negative.
No, it doesn't.
It's negative and negative make a
Is
positive.
it actually?
So
I don't know. I've done maths in 6 years.
Look, the ratio is important. If you get the ratio down...
Yeah, if you get the ratio wrong, it's horrible.
I think the ratio should be either 100 to 0 or 0 to 100 and nothing else.
What I will say is that they sell it in the shops now. I think Heinz has a mayo, but they sell it already in combination. That's
Mech
wrong.
shop.
Do you prefer to mix your own?
Yeah, I just like it homemade.
I just like to get the chip and just mix it together.
It's homemade. It's better. It's there's nothing like it.
Well, Adam, I don't think I need to come to you today.
I know I'm on an island here. I know no one will back me up on this, but I stand my ground.
You do mix ketchup and mayo when you're making when you
eat a burger, you have ketchup and mayo on it.
Yeah, sometimes.
That's all I'm saying. Mac,
but it's not mixed.
But it's not like the flavor changes when you mix them. It's still the two things.
The colour's horrible too.
But that's all about the ratios then, the colour. Well, I'm on the fence. I don't
mix those
I don't
things.
mind it. Adam's definitely against it. Nick is definitely for it. But thank you, Brad. Thank you to everyone else who sent in questions. If you've got any questions, let us know in the comments below or tag us in a tweet on Twitter at GPblog_com and we'll include them in the next episode. But guys, I think that's all we've got time for this week.
Oh, that's a shame, Joe.
Thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
Gutted.
We'll be back with the Circuit of the Americas and the US Grand Prix
Next week.
next week,
Next Monday.
next Monday. Enjoy it, and I'll see
I
you
will
next
do.
time.
Thank you, Joe. Goodbye.
Ta-ta.
Thank you guys. Bye.
Valtteri